you're insecure because I have a pull and a way with men or a way with life that you don't have. What I'm doing is attracting men, what you're doing is not. Instead of trying to figure out how I can get better and how I can be the type of woman that men want, I'm just going to cry in my feminist cave corner all day and, woe is me. What is a pick-me? I've been called a pick-me myself. Let's go to the original definition. Original definition of a pick-me is a woman who seeks male attention or validation so much that she's willing to maybe overlook things that men do, not really call it out, not be really, critical of men, or she's willing to put down other women to uplift men. And that is what someone's definition, the original definition, seems to be about a pick-me. But now it seems like anybody can be called a pick-me for anything. It's not even just, I can clearly tell that you just want men to pick you and you just want, to feel seen. Maybe because your dad wasn't around. No, now they're calling women pick-me's who decide to not wear makeup to their wedding. Okay, so there was this Black woman who went viral on TikTok a month ago or so. She literally just posted, I don't have makeup. She was in a wedding dress. It was her wedding day and she had absolutely no makeup on. And she just posted that. She didn't tell anybody that they should do that. She wasn't giving any advice. She was just saying, I have no makeup on and I'm excited. Oh my goodness, right? And people lost their minds, started calling her a pick-me and all this stuff. And I'm just like, pick-me is just ridiculous at this point. It's not even a bad thing to be called a pick-me because, at this point, the women that are being called pick-me are picked. They're usually picked. They're usually married. They usually have a husband. They have a man. They have someone that is a man that cares for them. So they usually are picked. So it's not even a negative thing anymore. But because she didn't want to wear makeup to her wedding, she's a pick-me? Like, what is really going on there? What's really going on there? Yes, traditionally, most women wear makeup to their wedding, okay? But why is she called a pick-me? Well, clearly she was picked. She's walking down the aisle and the people that are saying that she's a pick-me are not. They're at home in their bed, watching TV or looking at her getting married. So she was picked. What's wrong with being picked? We all want to be picked. We want to be picked by God. We want to be picked by our family, our fathers, the men that we see important, friends in our lives. We do want that. And statistically, women more so than men want to be involved in more social groups. So it really hurts a woman to be an outcast in a social group. Studies have been done about differences between men and women. And that is what it is. Women want social groups. They want to be picked in social groups. So to be an outcast and be seen as an outcast in a social group is not good for women. And so it's really sad because this woman was getting married. And I want to tell you the beauty. I don't know. I didn't research more about her video. I don't know what her response to all the criticism was. I hope she enjoys a beautiful marriage. I think she will, because studies show that the less your engagement ring costs and the cheaper your wedding is, the more likely you're not going to get a divorce. And the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because going without makeup on your wedding day, on a day where traditionally most women put on makeup, they want to look their best. But she's saying, this is deeper. I feel like this is a spiritual thing. When I saw that, I was like, wow, she is willing to be so vulnerable and say, I'm walking down this aisle before God and man, and I'm going to present to you my most real and authentic self, because that is what you're going to get. When we get married, you're going to see me fresh faced, no makeup, right? And I'm just thinking this is what she could be thinking. But this is so powerful. What if brides and grooms presented their real selves on their wedding days? What if they didn't have this big wedding and, all the makeup and all of the glitz and glamour, and really just said, I'm just going to marry you as I am. I'm going to look regular today. I'm going to look like how you're going to see me every day. You're going to know what you get. And I'm going to be vulnerable with you. Having no makeup for a woman, especially for women who do love makeup, it's such a vulnerable thing. It's such a vulnerable thing. Right? Because we as women, we care so much about our looks and how we look. Men do too. But it's such a vulnerable thing to say, I'm not going to get married under false pretenses. That's not how I really look. Okay? with makeup, caked up makeup. This is how I look with no makeup at all. And this is what I'm going to present to you. And I'm going to let you know that this is who I am. And we're in a culture that says they want authenticity, that says they want what's real. But when some people give you that authenticity and what is real, then a lot of people have criticisms for it and they buck against it and they're upset about it because they're just saying things because it's trendy and they're not really believing that. I thought it was brave of her in a makeup and culture that is obsessed with beauty as a woman to go down the aisle with her bare face and tell her husband, this is between you and I and God, and I'm going to be vulnerable and present my real self to you. Now, no shame to anyone that wants to wear makeup, to any woman that wants to feel beautiful by wearing makeup and the best dresses and the glitz and the glamour. Fine, if you can afford it, and if that's what makes you feel good on your wedding day, great. But why are we criticizing someone who didn't give any advice and say every woman should do it? She just said, I'm doing it. Why criticize her without even trying to figure out why she did it? And a lot of people are missing. They have so many voids that anybody that does something that is different, that is countercultural, they have to be called a pickme, or they have to be called all crazy and weird names, because a lot of people don't know how to deal with those people. They're literally like the movie Divergence. We can't label you. We can't put you in a box. We don't feel related to you or relatable with you. So you're a black sheep, and you're diverging from what's normal, right? And I just think it's so spiritual and it's so vulnerable for a woman to do that. I don't think I would be able to do that. On my wedding day, I had makeup on. My hair was done, everything. And her hair was done and she had a dress on and everything. But it was something the Lord probably led her, and I'm not sure if she's a Christian, but something like, I really feel like the Lord may have led her to say, no, walk down without any makeup on, as I want you to be as authentic, because this is who you are and this is what you're giving to your husband, your authentic self. I mean, how freeing it must have been in her heart and her mind to do something so countercultural and tell her husband, I'm going to present to you my authentic face, myself. I'm not going to wear a mask, literally. But this is what you get. And this is what I'm giving you. And I'm going to honor you by giving you my best, by giving you me, what's real. I'm going to honor you, my future husband, by doing that. That's beautiful. And not a lot of women can say they've had that thought. I remember there was this one woman who was a worship singer, and she was doing an interview, and she said that she was always concerned about her looks. And so every time she was always on the platform, she would sing and lead all the songs. She always had a lot of makeup on. She loved makeup, and her face was caked up with makeup. She said one day the Lord told her to not wear any makeup. That one day she said, the Lord told me, don't put on any makeup. And she said, like, she felt so uncomfortable with that. She knew God was telling her not to do that, but she just didn't feel comfortable standing in front of people on a platform without makeup, right? And so she said she ignored the voice a few times. She ignored God saying that, and she just kept going on with makeup. But then one time, I guess the feeling it would not go away. So she said, okay, I'm going to go up this Sunday. I'm going to worship you, and I'm going to sing with no makeup. She said that was the most powerful worship session she ever had. She said the church was in shambles. She was in shambles. And she said God moved in such a mighty way that he had never moved before, because for the first time, she wasn't thinking about herself. See, when we're worshiping God, we're supposed to be worshiping him in spirit and in truth. We're supposed to be loving him and giving him our all. And sometimes makeup and certain barriers, certain outfits, certain things that we wear, we're not doing it for the Lord. The Bible says in everything you do it unto the Lord, right? Sometimes we're doing it unto self. We want to feel good. It's pride. Or sometimes we want others to look at us. Oh, look at that makeup. Oh, look at those new shoes she got on. Look at that. When people aren't really supposed to be looking at all of that, they're really supposed to be focusing on God. And sometimes our outfits and our hairstyles and our makeup, whatever, can be a distraction when people are supposed to be focusing on God. Because people are looking up to you as a worship leader. They're looking to you and they're saying, oh, other women could be like, oh, she's wearing that. I want to wear that. We don't understand how that influences others. And I'm not saying you can't be fabulous and as a Christian, and you can't, look great and have makeup on. But I'm saying that sometimes, are we truly worshiping God if we're on the platform and we're really thinking about ourselves and not God? And that's why God told her to move that makeup, because it was an idol. It was an idol to her. She could not go and sing to God without her makeup on. That was an idol. And sometimes God will ask us to do uncomfortable things because he knows that our hearts aren't right. And so when she finally got the courage to remove the makeup, what happened? She was vulnerable. She was standing before God vulnerable. There was no mask. There was nothing. And her worship at that moment was pure. And she was able to worship and praise God with her heart and soul, with everything. And God really touched, right? And when she was giving the interview, she was wearing makeup in the interview. Okay. So God wasn't saying never wear makeup again. But in the interview, I noticed that her makeup was softer, more natural looking. It wasn't caked up. And she was saying that she used to have lots of makeup on when she would go into worship on the platform. And we're supposed to be focusing on God. And so if we're just doing everything to make ourselves look so great for man and not truly worship God, that's an idol and that's an issue. And so going without makeup, fine. I mean, I know for me, lately, when I first started this channel, I was always wearing makeup, always had a face full of makeup. And I wouldn't say like I was caked up or anything. Like I stopped the caked up look years ago. I kind of like for a more natural look, makeup look, stuff that's just not going to take a lot of time. I just have a lot going on in my life and I don't have time to be doing 45 minutes trying to get my makeup together. So now I do quick stuff, right? But even then, recently, I haven't even been wearing makeup on camera or even to go to certain events. Now I only wear makeup if I'm going to some place important. But even then, sometimes I just don't wear it. So, and that was freeing for me. That was a little bit freeing for me because it's like, I don't need all of this to cover up like my flaws or whatever I feel is my flaws. It's like sometimes showing up as your authentic self, people love to say that these days, is just being authentically you, how God made you. And sometimes that means without the makeup, without the wigs, without the weaves, etc. So I just think we need to understand what a pick-me is. It's so funny how like definitions of certain words can be one thing and then in time move into something else. I was telling you in the last video that I did on this channel that Felicia Rashad was even being called a pick-me because she said that men want their women to dress a certain way that isn't scantily clad. And some women had a problem with her saying that, oh, she's a pick-me. I'm like, imagine calling a honorary classy woman who is in her 70s a pick-me. That is, you should feel disrespected. You should feel disrespectful and convicted for even calling her a negative name. Because that's what they mean when they say pick-me. They mean something negative. And so I think that that definition doesn't mean anything anymore. It's not what it used to be. It's not even a bad thing being called a pick-me now. It's just like, okay, you're insecure because I have a pull and a way with men or a way with life that you don't have. What I'm doing is attracting men. What you're doing is not. Instead of trying to figure out how I can get better and how I can be the type of woman that men want, I'm just going to cry in my feminist cave corner all day and, woe is me.